Hello and welcome to Bounding into Comics. My name is John Trent. I'm the founder and editor-in-chief at Bounding into Comics. Today I got a story about Scarlett Johansson appearing to double down on the Me Too marketing for Black Widow. Before we get to that, I'd like to ask you to please hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed. If you are already subscribed, please make sure you are still subscribed. YouTube does like to unsubscribe people for whatever reason. And then hopefully by the end of this video, I will have earned your like, and that you will give us a like, and that you'll also share this video with your friends and family, and that you'll also hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future Bounding into Comics videos. With that out of the way, let's get to this story. As I said, actress Scarlett Johansson appeared to double down on her Me Too inspired marketing for the upcoming Black Widow film. Most recently, Johansson spoke with Time for an article decrying Black Widow as a sexist stereotype. Those are Time's words, not Johansson's words. This is what she said. It's really just one quick sentence here. She said, in the beginning, she was used as a kind of chess piece for her male counterparts. That's it. Again, I'll just repeat that again. This is what Johansson says. In the beginning, she was used as a kind of chess piece for her male counterparts. So, to give Johansson the benefit of the doubt, it's unclear in what context that comment was made. However, Time Magazine's Eliana Doctorman, who has a history of attacking superheroes, if you remember, she wrote an article for Time back in July 2020, taking issue with superheroes, mainly because they star straight white men. That was back in 2020, and she implies in this new article for Time that Johansson's comment was made as a criticism of the character and her previous appearances in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if that is the case, it makes absolutely no sense. Surprise! Actresses saying stuff that make no sense, just like actors do all the time. So let's break it down. It makes no sense because Black Widow was indeed a chess piece to one of her male counterparts, and that is Nick Fury, because shockingly she actually worked for him, and he aptly used her skills on a number of missions, including recruiting Bruce Banner and Tony Stark into the Avengers, as well as taking on Loki in the first Avengers movie along with the rest of the Avengers. She was not a chess piece to anyone else. In fact, Iron Man 2 makes it clear she's not a chess piece for Tony Stark, as she reveals she's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and her whole purpose of getting close to Stark was on orders from Fury. In Captain America the Winter Soldier, she's not a chess piece for Cap either. The two actually work together in order to put a stop to Hydra. Then in Captain America Civil War, she plays both sides and eventually helps Captain America acquire the Quinjet at the airport scene. She does that of her own volition at the risk of her own personal safety, as she is violating the Sokovia Accords in that moment. And then more recently in Avengers Endgame, she became the head of the Avengers and was organizing operations across the planet following Thanos' snap and attack on Earth and the galaxy as a whole. She would eventually sacrifice herself, a choice she makes, in order for the Avengers to acquire the Soul Stone so they can produce an Infinity Gauntlet of their own and undo Thanos' first snap. So in one sense, she might have been a chess piece, but that was in her duties as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent under Nick Fury. Otherwise, she's made a lot of her own decisions and been key in helping the Avengers succeed. All you have to do to know that is to watch the actual movies. So if you look at Johansson's comment, and again, this is what it is, again, just to remind you, in the beginning she was used as a kind of chess piece for her male counterparts. Yes, she was used as a chess piece for Nick Fury. That really isn't a criticism because that was one of her roles in the movies, and she performed it well. That was the part she was playing. That's not a big criticism. That's actually acknowledging what happened in the movies. There's nothing wrong with that, given the fact that she is a super spy and an agent. That's like saying Tom Cruise character Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible movies is a chess piece because he works for the IMF. Yes, he does take on missions for the IMF, but then he also has his own agency within that. So yes, he's acting as a chess piece for the IMF, but then he makes his own decisions in that regard. And sometimes it is against the wishes of other agents in the United States government. And Black Widow does the same role as we saw in Captain America Civil War. As far as her being a chess piece for other characters, that's just absolutely untrue. Just watch any of the movies. It's just not there. She's not a chess piece for Tony Stark. She's not a chess piece for Captain America. She makes her own decisions. She does her own action sequences. She helps them a lot, but she's definitely not a chess piece where they're moving her around on the board. In fact, she is the one who is moving people around on the board in Avengers Endgame when she becomes the head of that governing body that is kind of organizing efforts post Thanos' snap. Now, I said I wanted to give Johansson the benefit of the doubt about this comic because we don't really have any context about it aside from Eliana Dochterman's obviously jaded view in that article that she's written. So we don't really actually know how Johansson was using this sentence, but it does come a couple of weeks after she commented on Black Widow's hyper-sexualization in Iron Man 2. Well, at least those comments were published recently, 2 weeks ago, back in the middle of June, but Collider reportedly claims they were made back in 2019 when the film was supposed to be coming out in 2020. And in those comments, she said, or she was asked at first, there's a sort of sexualization of superheroes. How did that affect Black Widow? And that's what Collider asked. And then she responded saying, yeah, it definitely has changed. And I think part of that change has probably, it's hard because I'm inside it, but probably a lot of that is actually from me too. I'll be 35 years old and I'm a mom and my life is different. Obviously 10 years have passed and things have happened and I have a much different, more evolved understanding of myself. As a woman, I'm in a different place in my life, you know, and I felt more forgiving of myself as a woman and not, sometimes probably not enough. I'm more accepting of myself, I think. As for the hypersexualization of Black Widow in Iron Man 2, she said, all of that is related to that move away from the kind of hypersexualization of this character. And I mean, you look back at Iron Man 2, and while it was really fun and had a lot of great moments in it, the character is so sexualized, you know? Really talked about like she's a piece of something, like a possession or a thing or whatever, like a piece of ass, really. And Tony even refers to her as something like that at one point. What does he say? And then Collider's Ashley Robinson prompts her and saying, I want some. That's not what he says. He says, I want one in the movie. But Johansson says, I want some. Yeah, and at one point calls her a piece of meat. And maybe at that time, that actually felt like a compliment, you know what I mean, because my thinking was different. Maybe I even would have, you know, my own self-worth was probably measured against that type of comment, or like a lot of young women, you come into your own and you understand your own self-worth. It's changing now. Now people, young girls, are getting a much more positive message, but it's been incredible to be a part of that shift and be able to come out the other side and be a part of that old story, but also progress, evolve. I think it's pretty cool. So I think based on those comments and now what we're seeing from Time, I think we can reasonably assume that this is just more of Scarlett Johansson's Me Too marketing for the Black Widow film. And who knows if she actually believes this or not. But aside from that, she is promoting it this way. And to me, it's a complete and utter turnoff. And if I wasn't going to be talking about this movie for the website, I would not be watching it. Because this is just completely unnecessary and it's just a complete turnoff from this movie. Like, I don't need to have a Me Too lecture in the promotion of this film, and I don't need to have one if it in the film either. And that seems to be, if you're going to be promoting the film that way, one, I think it's safe to assume that it might be in the film as well. Let me know what you think. My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding into Comics.